Yo, what's up guys? In this video we are going to talk about something that's gross. Alright, so we're going to talk about showering. Like, how often do you actually need to shower? Do you really need to shower every day? Do you really need to shower twice a day? Even if you're working out, even if you live in a hot climate, is it really necessary to wash your body so often in order to have good skin? Spoiler alert, I'm going to say no, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. I know it sounds gross, but just hear me out. Okay, so if you want to see that, yeah, we're going to talk about it right now. But before we do, if you guys like videos like this, where I talk about really weird stuff, sometimes embarrass myself by admitting my gross personal hygiene habits, then subscribe to my channel, and I will show you lovely storm drains like this one in Nha Trang, Vietnam, which is especially gross today because there's water. Yeah, anyway, it's gross. Will I shower today? Probably not. I'll probably just go jump in the ocean. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. But subscribe to my channel. Go support me on Patreon. I'm trying to make videos full time. Want to support myself in that way. I want to use all of the money that I make from Patreon to put back into the channel, either by promoting videos or buying equipment, or yeah, I guess it's really just those two things. I've got some cool ideas, so go support me over there. Give me some of your money. Cool? Also, I need beta testers for a new fitness course that I have coming out right now. It's going to be about fitness, nutrition, fasting, and I want people who are interested in getting a review copy in exchange for a video testimonial. Cool? So if that's you, leave me a comment, let me know. Okay, so I alluded to this in another video that I made about I forget what the video is about, but basically, I was talking about, alright, so I'll give you a little bit of background on my life really quick. Back in 2015/16, I was living in LA, where I'm from, and I was not having a good time, right? I was depressed, I hated my life, I was driving for Uber, I just felt really stuck in general, and I didn't, see a way out, right? I had a lot of things that I didn't want to do, and I had a lot of potential solutions that I felt none of them were, really potential solutions. They all had a problem which prevented me from actually going through with them. Now, obviously, eventually I got myself out of that, and I managed to, I'm very lucky, really, honestly. I'm very lucky that I managed to get myself out of that, because it was not a good time. But during this time, basically what happened was I would be driving for Uber, didn't have a job, didn't want a job, and I would just drive for Uber enough to support myself and pay my rent and pay for yoga classes at Equinox, which is the gym that I would go to. Okay, my rent was $1,500 a month, my gym membership was $220 a month, and I probably made, what is that, that's $1,750, let's say, let's round it up. And on top of that, I probably spent, I don't know, maybe $200-300 a month on food and gas and stuff like that. Let's say extra 500, right? So I was totally broke. And I was very depressed, and I hated my life, and I felt very stuck. Anyway, the point of all this, sorry, I gotta switch hands. The point of all this is that I didn't shower, right? I was so depressed that I wasn't taking good care of myself, right? So I was you know what, fuck it, I don't want to shower. I would go to the gym. All right, I would wake up in the morning, I would drive for Uber, I would do the rush hour in LA, which is 2 or 3 hours. I would go to my 10-15 yoga class at Equinox, which is the advanced classes where all of the hot 40-year-old, trophy wives go, basically. And it's a real burner. They really, your shirt is drenched every time by the end of it, and you're just your head is in a very good space as well because of that. Okay, but I was soaking wet and from sweat, and then I would go home and not shower, sometimes just get back on the road and start driving again. And I just didn't care. I was I just don't care. I really didn't care about anything. I was not in a good place, right? And I said to myself, I'll just deal with the consequences, whatever they were. I'm expecting to break out, get pimples all over my face, and the funny thing is that didn't happen, right? I didn't get any pimples, any more than normal, and I generally don't get any pimples now anyway. And I didn't smell, which is also weird. I didn't stink. So, and it's really weird for me to talk about this because it's so non-mainstream. It's kind of embarrassing. And I do shower sometimes, and I'll tell you when those special occasions are in a minute, but it's such a non-mainstream thing to do, to say I don't shower, right? Like now I'm in Southeast Asia and I generally try to stick to towns that are like on the beach. So what I'll do now is I'll just go into the ocean, right? And not even like every day. Like I'm working out every day, I'm sweating every day. And now like I've been working out a lot online and I haven't really had more than like once or twice a week opportunity to go to the beach and go swimming. And in Asia, I would say the beaches are a little bit dirtier, right? So sometimes like here, not so much, but in Patong in Thailand where I was, like that's a gross beach. Like you go in there and you stink afterwards just because of the amount of bodies that are in there. So like when I do that, I'll take a shower because it's gross. But like in LA where I'm from, like I don't know if it's because California is like it's just a cleaner place in general. But you go in the water there and you come out and you smell like, oh, you smell like the ocean, you know, you smell like salt water. It's just such a nice, like, it just feels very good, you know. But even like, let's say, you know, like when I was doing yoga and all that, I wasn't going in the beach. I wasn't like rinsing myself with ocean water or anything. I was just like being a disgusting, like human being. But like I said, the crazy thing is that I didn't get any pimples and I didn't smell bad. Right, and what this kind of like led me to believe is that your body odor and your I guess like skin health doesn't really have anything to do with how often you wash yourself, right? Like I'm sure we all know people who stink and they take showers and they still stink, right? I definitely know some people like that, but like I think what it really comes down to, and this is my theory, right, is that when you sweat, it's a way of your body like cleaning itself, right? Like when you're in a situation where you're like, normally it comes from the sweat of exercise, right? Which I think, and I could be totally wrong, but I think the sweat of exercise is different than the sweat of just like being in a hot place, right? Or the sweat of like fear, right? That's a stink. That stinks when you smell like fear. But when you're just like going on a run or something like that, I feel like that sweat, and again, this is total bro science, I've done no research at all, but I feel like that sweat is more cleansing, okay? So like, I mean, you know, and I will say that when you're in situations where, like if you live in a city, let's say I'm living in a city and it's cold, Jesus fuck, and I'm not like in a tropical island like on Vietnam or Thailand or something like that, I would say in situations like that, the like grime that builds up on you probably needs to be washed off. I don't know if that's like the same as sweat coming from living in a hot place or from exercising in a hot place. But, you know, if you're like, I just don't think you need to shower that much, right? I was eating very clean. Every day I was eating this Israeli dish called shakshuka, which is basically like onions, garlic, mushrooms, tomatoes cooked down into like a paste, right? And then you break a couple eggs into that, and it's almost like it's like a very thick like pasta sauce almost with some eggs in it, right? And I would eat maybe a couple pieces of bread with some butter with that, and that would be like my food every day. Because I was broke, I didn't have any money, right? So like that, I can eat a meal like that for $5 a day and go do my yoga and sweat like a monster, and just drive for Uber and be fine. Right, so like anyway, I know this isn't much of a theory, but like, and I mean, can I really like in good conscience go out there and tell people like, oh yeah, don't shower, stop showering? I mean, kind of, yeah, like just try it out, you know. And I think also it's a good way to tell like if you stop showering and you stink, it's probably because of the food you're eating, right? It's probably because you're eating food that's not healthy, and that like detoxification is coming out in your pores in the form of sweat and other stinky stuff, right? Now, I will shower sometimes. I'm not saying like I never shower and I'm just like a gross person in general, because like sometimes you do end up stinking, and I would say the one situation where like I pretty much like I will shower is if I'm with a girl, right? Or if I can see that there's a possibility that I will be with a girl in the near future, if I have like a date or whatever, you can just kind of tell, right? Situations like that I will shower because that's just like being courteous to other people. And I'm a courteous guy, I'm friendly, I'm nice, I'm just cool like that, right? So if that video was helpful to you, if you want to see other videos about me embarrassing myself by talking about gross personal hygiene habits that I have, maybe getting a tip for life, like shower or don't shower, Subscribe to my channel. I put out videos as often as I can. Hit me up if you want to get an advanced copy of my fitness course that's coming out, probably in a couple weeks, we'll say. Let me know and support me on Patreon if you want, and go watch my digital marketing videos, link in the description. Peace.